Investing has gotten a whole lot easier in the last few years, especially with all these apps and channels like this. So what do you actually need a financial advisor for in this day and age? I would give you an honest answer because I am someone who was a financial advisor, stopped being a financial advisor, and we'll get into why, and then decided after several years to get back in the business. So yeah, why? Why? Because that is a very good question, especially when these people do cost you money. Let's go ahead and break it down. I'm going to tell you straight up, no, you do not need a financial advisor if that person is only choosing stocks or choosing index funds for you. Don't hire me for that. I'm telling you straight up, if that's the only thing you need me to do, hey, are these the best stocks? Do you like these stocks? Buy some index funds for me. Unless you don't want to touch those things at all and you want to be on autopilot, do not hire me because you think I'm going to get you the absolute best return in the world. That is not my main function. That's not my main job. You can get here on this here YouTube channel, go ahead and hit subscribe and check out them videos for free. That is one of my honest answers. There will be more honest answers as you go through this video. Okay, so go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. But I'm gonna be honest with you, 15 to 20% of the job is just the investment piece. That ain't the main function. I can, right, choose some good to decent stocks. People in the comments will tell you as such. But I'm not here to say, hey, you made this much, let's look at it and I can beat the market each and every. No. I am a financial planner. And what I do is I look at your investments, I look at your risk profile and see, hey, does what you own match with who you are from a risk perspective? I also look at, hey, this is how much money you have, here's how much money you need. Right? You've got 100,000, you need 1 million. We need to close that gap. I look at your expenses today and say, hey, instead of having 3 month savings, you actually need closer to 18. Hey, I just heard you had a kid. Let's look into these Trump accounts and see whether that makes sense or is it a 529 plan. Hey, I just heard something, about your parents. Have you considered a long-term care policy for yourself? Do your parents have life insurance? Like, these are all the things that I look into. And let me show you this real quick. I talked about this before, but this was back in 2017. It actually doesn't have a date on it. But I did this. I need to sit down and take the test. But I'm writing a book. I don't have time to take another test, right? But this is from Northwestern University. Back when I sat down to do their certified financial program, like the education part before you take the CFP, certified financial planner test exam. You have to sit down, take hours and hours, and there's like 5 different books, right? You have to do insurance planning, investments. Just one of the textbooks is just investments. One is just on insurance. One is just on estate planning, right? Wills, trust, all of that stuff. And that's just 3 of the areas. Like, again, the investment part, picking stocks, is just one part of it. So if you only want somebody just to pick stocks, if you only think that, why am I paying you when I can just buy an index fund? Don't hire nobody. Don't hire me. Don't hire nobody. If that's only what you're asking for, you do not need it for just that. If you need somebody to do all the other sections that I mentioned, then yeah, it might make a whole lot of sense. And I'm going to illustrate this by giving several examples throughout this video, but that is absolutely one of them. Another example, and what we're seeing right now, at least at the time we're doing this video, is Bitcoin. And I'll put this, on screen because it was publicly on the internet, was this person, right? They lost a lot of money, and I blur out their name because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but they lost a lot of money in Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, and some other meme coins. Apparently, according to the screenshot, they put all of their money in these coins. Now, you put more than $10,000 and you lost all but $1,000 in those coins. Hiring somebody What I would have done as an advisor, and it was what I do with everybody, 401k, IRA, whatever, I said, hey, look, why don't you take this quick questionnaire? We call it a risk tolerance questionnaire. And say, hey, here's where you are. Here's what you own. These two things don't match. Get up out of them coins. This don't make sense for you. That would have saved him $10,000. Is that worth hiring somebody? In his case, the answer is yes. Now, if you already know that, then the answer is no for you. So you need to ask yourself, what is it that you need that person to do? I don't think picking stocks should be anywhere near the top of the list. It's really the planning piece, the cash flow piece, and to help you get from point A to point B. Yes, I've got the 401k, but is that enough? Do I need something outside of that? And if so, how much should I be investing in those other vehicles to get me from point A to point B? And if so, how long is that stuff going to last? I got debt. How much should I be balancing between paying off my debt, paying off my student loans, which is also a debt, and paying for my kids' college too, while also making sure that I'm taking care of myself? Those are the things that a good financial planner does do. And another thing is, are you organized? Are you organized is a key thing. If you are already organized and you have, it used to be Mint, I know Mint is dead and gone, but maybe something like Personal Capital, where it pulls in all of your financial information. You know where all of your accounts are. You know what your budget is, and you have a good view of all that stuff. I don't really think that you need somebody, unless you want a double check. You probably don't need a financial advisor, because you see it all. You know you're investing, unless you want to ask, like, am I investing enough? Which, I mean, we can have a free call and quickly kind of tell you that. But other than that, stuff is organized. The people who might is, wait a minute, I think I had an old 401k and I don't know where it is. Can you take care of that for me? That makes more sense, because you might have all these old accounts, you don't know what you're really doing, and you would prefer to organize and outsource. And that might make sense for you, because you can have a stressful job. You could be a caretaker for someone and say, look, I'm trying to do these other things. I've got 2 kids. I'm taking them out to baseball practice, basketball practice, all that kind of stuff. Let you handle that. Go do that. I'm going to go do these other things, because I only have so much time with the kids at this phase. For me, you think I sit here and do my taxes? No, I'm talking to y'all. I ain't did my own taxes in years. That ain't my job. Now, there's someone who is well versed. You saw all the certificates and degrees I got in the financial planning side, but there's someone who's done all that in just taxes. I outsource my own taxes because I own a business, my wife owns a business, and business tax is different. I go and hire someone to do the tax piece because I have kids and I'm running a business, and again, I'm writing a book. I ain't got time, so I outsource it. Can I do it? Yeah, I guess if I go back to my own textbook, I don't have time for that. So do you have time to manage all those things and make sure that you are not making a mistake or taking risk that you are unaware of? Because that is something that can occur that can be costly. I've had a situation, right? There weren't clients, but it was something that they said, hey, this thing happened. Can you fix it? What did we do wrong, right? These things come up often. It was a brother and sister. They had a mom. Mom had passed. This was a situation that's happened, it's about 8 years or so ago at this point, but it was a brother and sister. Mom had passed. Brother had bought a policy. They came together and said, all right, brother, you're going to buy this policy for mom. Now, the policy had a 2-year rule where if something happens within 2 years, the policy does not pay out. That is relatively standard. Speaking of things that are standard, if you get a policy that, my life insurance policy, if I get caught doing a crime, I'm robbing the house and I die, the policy not paying out. That's a test question. If you get caught in the middle of a crime, they're not paying that policy out. In either case, the way that they had operated, as brother and sister, they're like, hey, look, we don't believe in having a whole bunch of cash in savings. What we do is, hey, $5,000 in cash, we invest in every bit of everything else. Max out 401k, max out, we don't care. Now, beforehand, what I would have said is, hey, you just got this insurance policy for at least the next 2 years, and you guys know what I've been saying on this channel, you need to be moving your savings to what? At least, a year to 18 months. I prefer that you have more cash. Well, mom passed, right? Unfortunately, and they did not have the cash available. Funeral, $35,000. So what did you have to do? They had to pull out their 401k, pay the 10% penalty, pay the tax. That's what they did. Now, I might have said, does it make more sense to take out a loan instead? That's what's an option. There's an option, because doing so would have avoided the taxes and penalties. That's not what they did. They already did that. Tax and penalties gone, almost 20% lost. Would it have been worth paying an advisor to have done that? Or to at least suggested that to avoid that much money being lost? That's number one for the 401k part. Or two, saying, hey, look, you might want to have more cash before that occurred, at least for the next 2 years. These are things that, because a part of that curriculum and the things that I've learned having done this job and being trained in it, I have those things together, right? These are one of the things I pull in as we have conversations with clients. Is that worth it? Right? Is it worth $25 a month? Is that worth $150 a month? Some would say yes, some wouldn't. If you are somebody who says, hey, I got $100,000 in cash, I know what I'm investing in, and I've got this platform that allows me to see all my investments in one place, then no, you don't need it. You don't need it at all, because you can self-insure. That's what self-insurance, put in air quotes, is. You have enough cash to pay for a funeral, unfortunately, pay for a funeral or that type of event. You don't need those things. So those are the things that it is going to depend on. I don't think it makes sense to hire somebody just to invest for you. You can probably do that on your own. M1 Finance can do that on its own. You put money into it and pick one of their little portfolios, which is it's a solid app. No shade there. Pick one of those apps and it would do it for free. You don't have the person to talk to and all that kind of stuff. But if that's all you need is somebody to invest, then no. The question is, do you have the other stuff? Do you have the risk stuff? Do you have the questions? The market is falling. Am I in the right places? Am I doing this correctly? Do I have other accounts? Do I have other risks that I'm unaware of? Those are the places in which an advisor may make sense. And the last part is the cost. That is the big piece too. I left originally the financial advisor field because it felt more like sales, to be honest with you. It felt more like sales. The minimum was too high, and it was more commission-based at that point in time. Now, things have changed a lot since 2018-ish and 2026, right? Time I'm doing this video. Back then, you had to have $250,000 in cash. You ain't had that, you couldn't come to my office. And that mindset is still stuck in a lot of people's heads. Like, hey, I'm not sophisticated enough to have a financial advisor. I gotta get my house in order. Like it's like cleaning the room before somebody comes in and cleans. I'm not ready yet. It's like, I understand what you mean, but you actually know how to do all that. That's kind of my job, right? But that's one part of it. But also, back then, it used to cost like 2% of your money to hire somebody to do all that stuff. Like 2% is a lot. And then they cut it down to 1.5%, then 1%. Like if you pay on somebody 1%, that cuts into your returns. That's crazy. Like, that is wild. Nobody sane is doing that anymore, thankfully. Which is why I'm in the type of field I'm in now, where it's just flat. This is the rate. We do all those things where you got a lot of money or little money, it's flat. Somebody came in with $10 million, the fee is still the same. And somebody might argue, shouldn't you get charged a bit more since it's more complex? Hey, the fee is the fee, right? To be honest with you, I feel like I should, but the fee is the fee. That's what flat fee actually means, and it's just a lot more comfortable doing it that way instead of knowing to be like, hey, 1% of a million is this, and I know that I could be, over 10 years, that was a lot of money, right? I don't think that's right. Especially for long term, I know that we sit here adding up this money, and that's not the way it should be. When in reality, if it's flat, you know that you are keeping more money in your pocket depending on what that fee is. Now, some people are charging just $1,500 a year, and if you got $100,000 or more, it all comes down to the value. I think that is always the biggest thing. What are you paying for compared to what is that person giving you, or what is that service providing for you in the end? There are some places where I go for food, I don't care what it costs, because it tastes that good. It tastes that good. That is the thing. That is the thing. The people that you're talking to or the people that you're working with, are they providing the service that you need? Are they checking the boxes that you need to check, or is it not? So if you need an advisor or not, the question is, and I want you to walk into any person that you are considering, is, hey, come up with a list of things that you need and go in there with questions. I need X, Y, and Z. And if they don't check off those boxes or answer them in a satisfactory way, say, hey, I do that, I don't do that, or bro, that's wild, then they either fit for you or they don't, and that's going to help you to know whether you need an advisor or not. And that's going to help you. And you can decide, hey, price-wise, and I would argue to meet with at least 3 people. Meet with at least 3. I prefer to meet with 3 people anytime I'm working on a contract or whatever. That way you know like what's normal, right? Somebody can charge you $1,500 a year. Somebody can charge $4,000. If you meet with a person that's $4,000 first, you're not going to know, right? So, meet around and see what works and see who you gel with and do it that way. Or you can find out like, hey, based on the 3 of y'all, I am actually in a good spot. I'm good for now, right? So it always depends on where you are and what your level, where you are with your organization. What you are looking for is the key thing. What you're looking for is the key thing. And most importantly, I absolutely do not believe that if it's just picking stocks, if it's just investing, I don't think you need somebody just to do that piece of it. I got a course that can teach you how to do that. It is the allocation piece. It's the risk piece that I think you might want to have somebody for on that side. And those are 2 separate things. In fact, they're 2 separate books if you're, into taking an exam and studying and all of that. If you want to know more about personal finance, investing, and everything in between, including what I think are the best stocks right now, you can go ahead and check out this video right here.